Welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I've got a group planting here in the clump style and it's Hawthorn. I think the wire's beginning to bite in, some of them have died, so it's definitely time to take a look. I put this together earlier this year. There's 5 individual trees and I've wrapped them with wire at the base. These 2 that have been cut off both died, but these other 3 made it, so it's time to remove the wire at the base. I used this technique that I use with wrapping garden wire around to secure the trees. So I'll just get that off first of all. Just cut it all free. Does a fairly good job, this technique, I like it. And I'll definitely be using it again. Seems to secure them in really nicely. And what I did is I wedged pieces of wood in between the trees to hold them in position. So I'm going to leave these 2 dead ones in for the time being. And first of all, I'm going to just take a look and see what happens when I remove this wire at the base. These 3 trees facing the camera are the ones that are alive. So they're the ones that will have started biting in, if anything has started to bite in. All I'll do first of all is just uncoil this wire and just see what's happening. How is it? Yeah, so we have got some mark in there. It's not too bad. But obviously, in a way, it's a good sign because it means these trees have grown and put on some size through the year, which means they're doing fairly healthily. The question though is, what do I do with these 2 dead ones? I've just rotated the tree and I noticed that one of these dead ones actually has got a load of wire marks in it, which makes me think it's alive. What I then did is sort of explored up the trunk, and this is what I've discovered. Up at the top of this one, you can clearly see lots of live leaves. So it's actually alive and not dead at all, which is great. That means I can leave that in position and that should grow on next year okay. As for this other smaller one, there doesn't seem to be much life in it, but when I scrape the bark back, it is green underneath, which again suggests that there is some life in that. I've just done my favourite trick of doing some work and forgetting to press record. And what I decided to do was remove this weak looking trunk. And although it was green underneath, and there is green under there, which would say it's alive, the roots look pretty awful. There were no leaves on it or anything, so I'm glad that's gone. And I've got a tree now, a clump style with 4 sort of viable trees, and these can just be taped together with some vet tape and allowed to grow on. I've taken obviously all the sticks that were holding these apart, they've all gone, and I'm just manipulating these trunks so that they kind of sit together as closely as they can, like that. And from there, I can just pull this vet tape really tightly. So I'm really pulling on that. To wrap these trunks together nice and tightly. They're not going anywhere. And I had a really good tip actually off one of my subscribers. I've never considered this option, but it really makes a lot of sense, and I forget who it was, and I apologise, but what the tip was cut down the vet tape. This will be a bit out of focus for you there, but I'm just cutting down the length of the tape, like that, and then all you do is you wrap round and then you tie it like that. Oh, that's a fantastic method of securing the tape, and then you can just cut those bits off. Wonderful. Now there's no wire on there, And to be honest, I don't think there's any need for any wire, but what I am going to do is just apply a bit more tape instead of reapplying wire, which I've done with other trees. I'm just going to secure it again with a bit more tape, like that. And this should be very, very secure. I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to try and do a neater cut, because that was poor. There we go. That's better. So I just wrap it round, and again, just come round. Tight like that. That's one of the things that's great about the bonsai community. Very, very helpful. You know, people give me advice, and I don't always take it, I don't always agree with it, but I always appreciate it. Before I reinsert these pieces of wood, I've been working on a really interesting video these last couple of days. I've been creating my own cement bonsai pots using some really simple techniques, and I'll be posting that video early next week, so I'm excited about that. If you're interested in making your own pots, hit subscribe and you won't miss the video. But what I'm doing now is I'm just, see what I did there? I just took that trunk and wedged that in like that. These two are close together, so I can wedge one in there, and then this one could ideally be moved out in that direction. I'd say a bit more than that, so I'll apply a thicker piece of wood there. And that's excellent. From this angle you can see the height of these. Obviously I've left them to grow through the year, but I think now's the time to prune them down a bit more, into a bit more of a manageable kind of height. So I'll start with, you know, I'm tempted to actually just lop them all down like this, and I'm going to do that. I'll take that off there. I'm going to take this one here, and I think that'll do. Maybe just prune that one down a bit. Excellent. Having cut these down now, there's just these two trunks that are crossing over, which I don't really like. I'd like these to be splayed apart a bit more. And what I'll do is I'll use that there. I'll then bend this back on itself. Like that. Decide how far I want these apart, which I'd say is about 4 inch, say. So 4 inches from here is about there. So I'll take this back on itself. Create another loop like that, and then push that piece in there, and push that over there like that, and that seems to do a pretty decent job, I think. I'm just going to do the same thing on a slightly smaller scale with this one. So Again, I'll just make a loop like that. Come back on myself, pull that out. So it wants to be out to about there. So I'll just do that and push that in there. Excellent. I'll finish off with the obligatory cut paste, just to seal in the tops where I've done those large chops. And then exactly how high I'll have these and what I'll do with them in the future, I'm not sure. This is just a basic idea of sort of how this tree could look going forward, but I'm really quite happy with that. That was quite a quick video really, just doing a bit of work on another of my clump styles. I've got quite a few of these clumps going. I really like them. They're probably my favourite projects. So I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, thanks for joining me today and have a great day. I'll see you soon.